Welcome to another top 5, guys. 5 days have passed since the latest patch, and now we can really see what the new best decks are. And the preliminary top 5 I did was actually containing a lot of bad stats, so right now the situation is much different than the last one. In this video you get to see what are the 5 best decks, we're gonna talk about their mulligans, win rates, and general tips so you have a better idea of what you should be playing with, as well as what you're probably playing against. So I hope you find the video helpful, and if you do, a like and subscribe would be great, and don't forget you can check me out live on stream each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, where I do my best to show you the best decks in action. But now, let's get into it. Before we get into the best decks, let's talk about something I'm sure is gonna be very interesting to a lot of you. A fresh new TCG in the Cyberpunk universe. Huge thank you to today's video's sponsor, Weird Co. This is Cyberpunk TCG, a competitive trading card game where you lead your own crew in Night City. Your fixer lines up gigs, you roll the dice to secure them, build street cred, and if you start your turn with 6 gigs locked down, you win. However, your opponent can also steal them. Every turn you choose a gig die, roll it, and add it to your gig area. The numbers matter because the total value becomes your street cred, which powers up certain effects. So the higher your rep climbs, the more insane your plays are gonna get. You deploy units, your crew, gear them up with cyberware and weapons, fire off programs for instant effects, and choose. Do you attack a spent enemy unit, or do you go for your opponent's face and their gigs? And if your unit actually hits hard enough, you can even steal multiple gigs. Your free face-down legends are the core of your deck. You don't even know which one you're flipping when you spend 2 eddies to call a legend, and when they turn face up, they can completely change the game with powerful triggered effects. Deck building uses a colored system tied to your legends, so your leaders determine what kind of cyber arsenal you're allowed to run, a little bit like Death Knights. It has that strategic depth that we love, resource management, timing windows, and calculated aggression, but with this neon dystopian edge. Not to mention the art is phenomenal. Looks like something coming out of a cyberpunk dystopian graphic novel. So if you like competitive card games and being early to a new meta, this is definitely a cool one to check out. Link to the Cyberpunk TCG Kickstarter and website is in the description. Go watch the trailer and check out the cards. But now, let's get into the best decks.
You are not prepared!
So the big winner out of the patch definitely looks like it's gonna be Paladin, and this new, faster Flight Maneuvers Pally is actually really kicking some teeth. Yesterday this deck was under the radar, but it's flying very high right now with very good sample size and very good win rate. And I was thinking about a deck like this for quite a while now, and it seems like it is indeed working pretty well. A very interesting thing I saw here is this deck still runs Violet Treasure Guild, but you're actually running Dragon Scale as the spell you want to be casting instead of the 2 mana gain mana, and with this thing you basically guarantee yourself flight maneuvers as soon as turn 1 or 2, depending on when you play this guy. Other than that, this deck does not have a single other spell. It's only Dragon Scale Armament, which fishes out your flight maneuvers, which you get to fish out through the Violet Treasure Guild, and all of the rest of this is going to be minions as well as locations, and this makes the deck very easy to actually play quickly with, so you're not going to have trouble getting yourself flight maneuvers as soon as turn 4 more often than not. The deck has a good chunk of card draw, has a good chunk of early game aggression, and you should be closing out games as soon as turn 5 for the most part. So yeah, very nice aggressive pally list out there right now, definitely worth checking out, and I will be giving it a try really soon. Matchup wise, here's what the situation is right now. You're gonna be good against warriors, against shamans, so those are 2 pretty big matchups right now. And as for the mulligan, going first and second for that matter, you're always gonna want to get yourself the flight maneuvers as soon as you can. Some good cheap minions in between. The Violet Treasure Guild is amazing, the Dragon Scale Armament as well, and some good early game 1-drops also wouldn't hurt, but don't keep more than 1. It really comes down to if you have flight maneuvers or not already. Like, if you do have flight maneuvers already, keeping a couple of 1-drops would not be bad, but other than that, you're basically digging for this. On the coin, the situation is kind of the same. You're still digging for the maneuvers, the Violet Treasure Guild or the Dragon Scale Armament, and having yourself some decent 1-drops also couldn't hurt. For other good pally decks, this is the one I'm showing you, but I could have just as easily showed you this thing. 42,000 games for the last 3 days, guys. That's kind of insane. And the win rate is pretty much just as good. I mean, with this big a sample size, anybody and their grandmother is playing it and also misplaying it like hell. But yeah, as you see, this guy does have 1.5% bigger with 1000 games, definitely not bad at all. But yeah, the aura version of the Flight Maneuvers Pally also works pretty well right now. Other than that, you can't really see anything too amazing for Pally right now. Some people are trying Imbue Pally still, but obviously it's not good. Spot number 2 goes down to Herald Warrior with the Dragon package, and this deck I did show you on the last top 5, and it's still hella strong. Technically speaking, it even has higher win rate than the Pally, but the Pally is a new fresh deck, and this one did have smaller sample size, I think, so there is that. This version has a single torch, which definitely could be a very good card if you use it right. You also have Eternal Toll, with which you can be poking some people. You have all of the good Herald cards. We are not running the 5 mana Herald neutral, however, but you still have yourself Otraxian, Ragnaros, and Deathwing at the end, so you can be having a little bit of bigger, better mid to late game. We have Draco Rex, with which you can be clearing a lot of boards, but the rest of it is just the good Dragon package and the Herald stuff. So no need to talk about it too much, already gave you a guide about it. Matchup wise, here's what we have. Good against Spell Demon Hunter, which is very popular right now. Herald Rogue as well is very popular, and so is other warriors apparently. I guess different versions of Herald Warrior, you're gonna be better than them. When it comes down to going first, here's what it's gonna look like. Try to get yourself the good 1, 2, 3, and 4 for that matter with the Prescient Slither Drake if you're curving into it, and same can be said on the coin. And here Prescient Slither Drake is even more amazing because dropping it as soon as turn 3 can be absolutely huge, but for the most part try to keep the good early game minions. And on the third spot, I also had to include a just Dragon Warrior version, which is looking a little bit different than what we're used to, but it's actually having some insane stats right now with very high win rate and decent sample size, so why wouldn't we include it? The interesting inclusion here would be Chromie, which a lot of people have been saying this deck does suffer a lot from card draw, and with this thing, it could be really good. Could give you a lot of extra gas, even though the card itself is pretty slow, like it's a 6 mana do nothing for the immediate impact of the game. It's still gonna give you a lot of extra chip damage from hand you could be using, so it's definitely a pretty interesting version of the deck. Given that we have a card like Chromie, I would believe you should be having everything as 2 of, but as you see, Broodkeeper is actually a single copy, which definitely sounds kinda weird, but I guess you had to cut something in order for Chromie to be fit in, and I guess Broodkeeper was that something. Stadium Announcer is a card I pretty much dislike a lot. It usually definitely feels very underwhelming for me, so you might want to consider maybe swapping this guy for that guy, but the choice is yours. But yeah, for the most part, it's good old Dragon Warrior. It does not have anything like a Draco Rex or Gromash at the end, so you're top heavy, but again, it does make sense because of Chromie. You don't want to be running too many legendaries because you want to be getting extra copies of stuff, so yeah, makes sense for Chromie for sure. When it comes down to the matchups, here's what we have. Literally no bad ones, which is kind of insane. From Diamond to Legend for the last 3 days, definitely looks pretty good. And when you're going first, this is what the mulligan is going to be looking like. The Dark Rider, the Twilight Egg, basically the 1, 2, 3s again. And again, curving into the Prescient Slither Drake could be great. Shadow Flame Suffusion feels a little bit too high if you ask me, but getting yourself a really good Dark Gift minion would be insane for this deck as well, so can't say no to that, but yeah, all around the mulligan does make a lot of sense. On the coin, again, the situation is similar, so mulligan accordingly. For other good warrior decks, this is the one I'm showing you. Like I said, smaller sample size, but the win rate is like 1% higher or more. This is the Herald variant, and the non-Herald variant, here it is, 60%, 2000 games, again, better than the Pally, but not so fresh now, is it? Other than that, I have been seeing Egg Warriors out there as well, other versions of Herald, other versions of Dragon, but as you see, the win rates for the other decks are not as spectacular. Here's Egg Warrior with 53% win rate, another one with a little bit less, with a lot more sample size though, and yeah, the rest are even worse, and Arena Warrior, definitely not what it used to be now, is it? Not to mention Quest Warrior, absolutely dead in the water, but we do have some bigger, better versions, so maybe it's not so dead, but definitely doesn't look like the go-to deck for Warrior. On the number 4 spot, honestly, this feels like another huge winner of the patch, which would be Spell Demon Hunter, but right now the game is a little bit stabilizing from the Spell Demon Hunter onslaught. There's a lot of Herald Rogues out there, which are basically making you not a no-minion Demon Hunter because they shuffle King Lame into your deck, which is pretty lame indeed. But yeah, Spell Demon Hunter is an absolute unit of a deck right now, and the main reason behind that would be the Eternal Hold, and if this deck continues to be really strong, I wouldn't be surprised if this card goes up to a 7 mana. The newer versions of this deck do start running Horn of Feasting, which definitely feels like a very good card, especially outcasted, because getting yourself 6 damage worth of immune minions to clear stuff with, and also stick them on the board, kinda insane. Not to mention the 2 ones you could be using for tons of card draw with the help of Broxigar's Last Stand, which could be nice, even though pretty situational. You do have the Broxigar package in here, but you're not gonna get to see Broxigar all that often if we gotta be honest. It's just in there for the card draw for the most part. Nespira, location is pretty strong, getting yourself a 6/6 super early, and all of that potential you get out of the 1 damage after each fell spell's kinda good. And with things like Lasting Legacy, you can get yourself some pretty sick OTKs even against rogues that shuffled King Lane in your deck. You can still do something like discover yourself Doomguard or Illidari Inquisitor, and basically with the Cup of Lasting Gifts, you play this, you smack the opponent for 8+ damage, and then with the charge minion, you do it for 8+ more, and whatever the minion it is, +5 for Doomguard, +8 for Illidari, that kind of stuff could be huge. But yeah, I do have a guide about a similar deck like this, and I will be giving you an updated guide about it in the next couple of days, so be on the lookout for that. Now let's see what the updated matchups are looking like, and here's what it is. Nothing but net, everything pretty positive. When we look at the mulligan going first, here's what it's gonna be. The sigil is great, the card draw, the weapon, Eternal Hold straight out also could be a keep even with nothing else kept in your hand. Wyvern Slumbers can be amazing, the first portal, the Cinder, the other location, Infestation can be good, and Horn of Feasting only if it's on the far left if you ask me. On the coin, again, similar situation, so do that then. When it comes down to other Demon Hunter decks, we can also check out the Spell Demon Hunter, but here's the one I'm showing you right now. 2100 games, 58+ win rate, and plenty of other iterations like this one, for instance, 11,000 games, definitely amazing. But we're gonna have to scroll quite a lot to see Herald Demon Hunter, I do believe. Still scrolling, where is it? There we go, 53.5% win rate, not the worst, but far from the best either. And we do have some other different iterations with less win rate, bigger sample size, that kind of stuff. So basically stick to Spell Demon Hunter right now, even though I have seen other, a bit more aggressive Demon Hunter decks out there, right now I'm not seeing those lists. And the last deck on the list is going to be Face Hunter, and this deck really is remaining really strong. It used to be strong before, it's still very strong now, and the main reason why this deck is so good is this card in particular. Confront the Tol'vir is just way too good right now, and it's doing a lot more than a 3 mana card is supposed to be doing, and I would not hate this card going up to 4 mana eventually, but for now, the stats are not that problematic, so maybe we can let it live for a while, even though obviously this card is way too good. This Face Hunter deck is going with the Sylvanas Sisters, and the Bursting Enma also made it back into this list. We used to see other versions without this thing included anymore. And yeah, what you basically try to do is, in the early game, you try to swarm the board with a lot of minions, mainly 1-drops, 1-drop spells as well. If the opponent manages to stabilize, you go with Confront the Tol'vir, and they usually stop kicking, especially after the second one. You also have Neri of the Crater, with which you can double up a bunch of stuff, and you could just straight out tempo it. The opponent is gonna have to lose their mind trying to clear this, because if they don't, you do definitely have a lot of potential to make them regret that decision. The Sisters can be pretty nice, especially with the 2 damage Sylvanas, if you manage to play a few before her, and getting yourself a little bit of discovers from this could be pretty beneficial for you as well, even though a lot of the times this girl gives you a lot of expensive stuff you're not going to be happy with. For the matchups, here's what we have right now. Aura Pally is not going to be your friend, and that's a lot more popular now. Quest Priest apparently also not so hot, and half the warrior matchups are not going to be great, but all around, again, climbing should not be an issue. When going first, obviously hold on to your good cheap minions. Varisa not the worst if you're planning on the game to be a little bit longer, but only keep her if you're curving into her well. Straight out Sylvanas can be amazing, the Rock Skipper if you already curve into it, that kind of stuff. And on the coin, again, try to keep the early game aggression, don't get baited into keeping value cards like Tracking and such. Honestly, even Confront the Tol'vir could be a keep if you already have yourself 3 amazing 1-drops, like you literally could just do that in the first couple of turns and just confront on turn 3. Would not be the worst thing in the world, even though loading it up a little bit more might also be pretty good. For other good hunter decks, I've heard Quest Hunter is actually making a comeback right now, but this is the one I'm showing you. Face Hunter, almost 1000 games, 57+ win rate, not that bad at all. But scrolling down further, we're gonna have to see a lot more Face Hunters before we see Quest, which is still viable, but definitely not the go-to hunter deck right now. Measly 50% win rate, and Magma Hunter still looks like it's under the radar, can't really see it out there. For the classes we haven't mentioned, starting off with Death Knight, we can see Unholy Death Knight making somewhat of a returning at 55% win rate. Definitely not bad, with the great strength and the huge refill potential with things like Shadow of Yesterday, as well as Chowdown, and also making your board very sticky with the Laundry could be huge. Herald Death Knight is also a lot more playable now, but still does feel like it does need a little bit more removal for it to survive. Other than that, not much else to talk about here. As for Druid, Aggro Druid seems to be still somewhat okay. game. Mirifra Druid is definitely pretty fun, but not as strong as you would like a deck for Easy Legend, and Imbued Druid definitely got a shot in the face. I guess the stats I showed last time were definitely not accurate. I had a feeling they weren't, but they were there. As for Mage, we can actually see Quest Mage seeing a lot better results lately. Burn Mage is also a lot more playable, even though both the sample sizes are not that hot. The more bigger, better sample sizes don't have that big a win rate though. When it comes down to Priest, Quest Priest is still gonna be the go-to deck. I did give it a try yesterday. The deck refused to work for me for quite a while, but it's definitely pretty fun when it works, and it could be pretty clutchy. Moving down to Rogue, I do believe that Rogue is an amazing deck for top legend right now. You gotta really know how to play this one, however. And yeah, the deck is very solid right now, very high skill cap, but as you see from Diamond to Legend, the win rate is just not that spectacular. We do see plenty of sample size, and this is a great deck to be countering Spell Demon Hunters with, so there's that. Next up we have Shaman, and Herald Shaman almost made it into this top 5. It could have been the top 6 deck with this version right here, with above 1100 games and pretty decent win rate, but as you saw, Face Hunter had 57 with similar sample size, so why wouldn't we? Other than Herald Shaman, you can't really see much else over here, so that's about it for the class. And last and kinda least, we also have Egg Warlock, being the best archetype for the Warlock class, but the deck is really not that amazing right now. There's different iterations, by the way. Here's one with the Possessed Animasters. I did try this deck not too long ago. It felt kind of fun, but I would not recommend it for Easy Legend right now. So that's gonna be it for this top 5, guys. I hope this helps you figure out what deck you want to be taking to Easy Legend right now. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you still haven't, and do let me know in the comments which is your favorite deck right now. Don't forget to check out Cyberpunk's TCG from the link below and support the channel for free. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.